And we are live.
Yeah, yes, we are. We are live from the west side and live from the Mississippi side and live from all sides, right?
Louisiana side. So you're from Mississippi?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm from Ohio.
Oh, she's from Ohio.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's where my friend lives at. Well, she moved down to central Louisiana. You know, a Blue Northerner, Pat?
No, I don't think I do.
Oh,
I have
okay.
to check. I have to look her up.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. She's good people.
Yeah, I've seen her in several live chats all over the place.
Yeah, she was the one of the first people that I really connected with when I went on my trip when I met D Sims last year at a meet and greet, and she's the one that saw the shadow of the Sasquatch walking up to the tent. She saw it like 3 times. Yeah, that was exciting. It was kind of weird because I heard it crunching when it was walking up, and she says, "Christy, I saw the shadow. It came up to the tent and it backed away, and it came up to the tent and it backed away." And then on the third time, she could see the conical shaped head. I was like, oh, and I'm laying right there, and I'm just sitting still. I'm not doing anything. I'm just listening with my ears. I hear crunch, crunch, crunch. I said, ooh.
Like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Then, so it's nice to finally meet you guys, kind of.
Yeah, I know, huh?
Because we're talking.
It is absolute pleasure to finally talk to you. I mean, like I said, told you earlier, I've followed you for a very long time, and
well, I appreciate that.
It's very interesting to see what you have going on, literally at your house.
Right.
So I have some questions for you.
Okay.
Obviously, I have questions, and I'm sure Christy does too.
Yes, I do. And give me a second. I don't mean to interrupt you. Give me a second. I gotta go feed my dogs, and I'll be right back. You take over.
Yep. All right. So, basically, we have one question here. We ask everybody that comes on the show, and is, what got you into the topic of Bigfoot? We have heard everything from experiences, curiosity. Christy was a movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek. So what got you into the topic of Bigfoot?
Well, actually, if you go way back, I think The Legend of Boggy Creek is what introduced me to the subject too, but it wasn't me that saw it, it was my brother that saw it. And he scared me telling us about it. But then just through my childhood and even my adulthood before, like up to my 40s, I was always interested in it. And would watch, I remember watching In Search of and all those shows that everybody talks about. But what actually got me into it was when I married Jim, and I moved down to where I live now, and he lives on we live on a 300-acre property.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah. And then it's surrounded by just, forest for miles, and we have lakes around us and everything. So it's a prime location.
Right.
But when I married him, it was December. And then in the spring, he'd given me a camera, and I loved to take pictures. So I was out starting to explore the property. And when I got down to the bottom of what we call the west side, I found a structure. And at the time, I didn't know what it was. But it looked odd to me, so I took a picture of it, a couple pictures. And I brought it back and showed it to my family. And my boy said, that kind of looks like one of the things a Bigfoot makes. And I was like, yeah, it does. So I got online and I looked it up to see if I could find ones that were similar. And I did, and I got all excited, So from that point on, I started paying attention when I would go in the woods, and I started finding breaks and things like that. So in 2015. That was in 2008 when I found the structure. But in 2015 is when the interaction started. And how that came about was Jim was going to the back, like we have a field that goes way over hill and back to the back of our property. And he was going to cut wood. Well, when he got back there, there's this great big fallen log. And on it, he found a pile of like berries that were mixed. Just a little pile laying there, and he thought it was weird. So he sent me a picture of it. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. So I decided to go back and look at it. And I took some seashells that I got from when I went on to the beach. I wanted to take something that maybe they hadn't seen before for an experiment, just to see if they put those berries there, what would happen. So I took 3 seashells. No, 4. I think it was 4. Anyways, I laid them out, took a picture, and they were all face up, like cups, like they were the cup part. Right. So we left them there. A couple of days went by, and we went back and checked, and well, actually, no. Okay, I'm sorry. They were all face down. And whenever we got back there, one of them was turned over to the cup position. And then inside the cup were 6 red berries. And they were laid out in a pattern. It was 2, 1, 2, 1, I think. And so that just absolutely blew my mind. Not only did they turn the shell over, but they put something in it. So from that point on, I started gifting there. And I took another shell back there, and it was it's called a shark's eye. And it disappeared. So I figured they took it. Well, I can't remember how many days went by, but one evening we found it on a railing. So they had taken it, brought it to our house. So they brought the gifting to our house, to the railing. So that's why that's why I gift on the railing, because that's where they brought it. So that's kind of how I got into it.
That's where they wanted to get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's cool. That must have been a really mixed emotion, knowing that you put that seashell so far back out there, and then all of a sudden it's up on your railing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Well, actually, Jim was the one that found it, and he said I brought a friend here that wanted to he was into Bigfoot too, so we were doing some exploring, and we came back, and he goes, "You need to go look at the back porch." And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Just go look." So I went, and there it was. Wow. And I thought, oh my God, they know where we live.
They do.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, it was shocking. And Jim was like freaking out, and he wouldn't even sleep. Our bed was right in front of the window. He wouldn't sleep in there that night. He slept on the couch, which was, there was no windows around. And then we had to rearrange our bedroom because he didn't want to sleep. Yeah, he was scared. Wow. But it kind of creeped me out a little too. But
it is, especially in the beginning, it seems a little creepy and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You figure this 8 to 10 foot tall, 700 to 1,000 pound thing that isn't supposed to exist is coming to your house. Yeah, I mean, anybody would have a lot of emotions going through their heads at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know Jim's a hunter too, right?
Yeah, he hunts.
And he's obviously, he wasn't introduced to any of this until he met you and you moved
Mhm.
out there and started noticing stuff.
Actually, he had experiences before we got married, but he didn't put two and two together and realize what was
right.
going on.
That's where I was going with it. He's probably been out there and has had stuff happen and didn't
Oh yeah.
realize that's what it was. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
I hear they have I think they have kind of a fascination with the back of his truck, right? They like to put stuff in the back of his truck sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. We
And
just
and
found something on his truck yesterday.
and
It's going to be
is this truck blue?
Yes.
Interesting. There's that whole blue correlation again.
Right. Now make sure you watch my next diary video because we found something on his truck yesterday and it was blue.
Yeah.
So I was, yeah, they do seem to like
That's-
blue.
Yes, that is very cool. I think my opinion, blue for them correlates with sky and water. You know what I mean? Like natural elements of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And plus we do, I think scientists do call it the big blue rock. You know, they consider
Right.
Earth big blue rock. So
Mm-hmm.
there might be some sort of knowledge of all of that with them.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been doing this for what? How many years now?
Well, if you count when I found that shelter or structure, whatever you want, it was big. So at first I called it a structure or a shelter because my daughter and I both climbed in it and were sitting in it. So it was pretty big. But that was 2008. So
Oh wow,
at least 12
Okay,
years.
12 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you and Jim have definitely gotten used to it by now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not,
You know?
you know, as creeped out like he used to be. He still doesn't. He said he doesn't want to see one. But I do.
a lot like Lewis. Lewis wants to go out there and have the interaction, but he does not want to see one.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite, and it's like, dude, I want to see you. Come out. Let's play a game of poker. You know what I mean? Let's do this. Come on. You know?
And we both had several glimpses of them, but we've never had that full on, you know, I want to actually be able to describe details from what I saw.
You had that FLIR footage.
Yes.
And that was, if anybody who watches Snow White Bigfoot, you can tell exactly where that was from the bush line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was literally right there at that bush line, and you could see something popping up, looking over the bushes.
Uh-huh.
And it was big. It was very big. But, you know, that's probably, I mean, I can actually replay that in my head. It's one of those monumental things, you know what I mean, that just kind of sticks with you.
Yeah.
But
I was so excited when I saw that.
You've had your granddaughter out too, right?
Yeah.
And didn't she have a friend that lived in the bush?
Well, that's what we're assuming because of how she acted. We didn't see anything.
Right.
But it happened twice with her. So you want me to tell about that or?
Oh, absolutely, because it's a big thing and stuff that they love kids. They love kids, and I think the reason being is that the kid's brain is open to everything at that point. You know, it hasn't been corrupted, so to speak, as to, oh, those things don't exist and this doesn't exist and this doesn't exist. They're just there, and it's just, you know, a kid's brain is just a sponge at that age. And it's, you know, I mean, gentleman who has a channel called Livewire, he's got the same thing coming up to his house. They're coming up, they haven't made anything aggressive, but when the kids are out there is when they come out. and they're watching the kids, and it kind of creeps him out. He thinks that one of them's going to snatch up one of his kids and stuff like that. And it's like, no, they're not. They're not going to do that. But so go ahead and tell your story with your granddaughter in the bush and her buddy that lives in the bush. And
okay. Well, the first time that it happened, my daughter was here visiting. It was the first time she got to meet her little niece. But anyways, we were outside just, running around because Annabelle loves being outside. So we have pampas grass in front of our propane tank. And it's real big. And like something could get in there. You'd have to see the pictures and stuff on my videos. But I picked, how those have tassels that grow out of them late in the summer, like right now they're growing out. I picked a couple of those and I gave her one and I had one. And she was running around and she went down to the pampas grass and got down and was looking in there. And she acted kind of afraid and she ran back up the hill, which is maybe, 5, 6, 10 feet at the most, but she went up there and she stopped and then she came back and she went down and she looked again and then she started like taking that tassel and like playing with something that was in there, and she started laughing, and then she'd come back and she kept doing that. So my daughter, we were like looking at each other and she was looking at me like I could tell what she's thinking, like, what the heck is she seeing in there? So that was really weird. Yeah. But so we're figuring it was a little, small juvenile, probably.
Right.
I don't know what else would have been in there that she would be acting like that with, because she sees other animals. Why would be scared at first,
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember that video. You had, I think it was you, your daughter, your granddaughter, and a couple other people with you walking down there.
Well, that was the second time.
That was the second time that you videoed it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she got down and she looked in there. She's like,
yeah, that time we were all, my boy's whole family was here. And we were outside playing again. And we went around the yard and we were under the pine tree that's next to the pampas grass back in that corner. We got like 3 clumps of it in our yard. This is the one closest to the trees, the tree line. And so we were under the pine tree, and then she just kind of took off on her own and started walking towards that pampas grass. And like you said, I was filming because it was just a family thing, I was following her around. And she got down looking and she started waving her little hand. You can see it waving at something. And she says, hello, somebody, are you home?
Right.
And it was just like, kind of how she was acting with the other time with the pampas grass. So I just wondered, was she seeing that little fellow or whatever in there again? So that's why I titled the video, is Annabelle talking to her Bigfoot friend again? I think is what I titled it.
Right. So here's an interesting, I can't think of the word, correlation between hollowed out bushes. That's what I find in my area. I'm in Southern California. They take the trees and they'll snap the tops of the trees down, and then they'll take the stuff on the inside, they'll break it off and put it on the inside, and it'll create this igloo of a tree, of this bush, and they just sit there and they just watch people all day long. So there's very similarities.
And actually somebody, I think in the Annabelle video, somebody had pointed out what looks like one standing in that pampas grass, and it does look like a head. You know, you can see eyes and everything. So,
right.
Yeah. I was going to ask you. I know Nathan Rio used to talk about finding like tunnels, like where it's really, really thick, and like he thinks they would go into these tunnel type things where they can hide but still watch you.
Oh yeah.
So is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, I find a hollowed out bush to where I can almost stand up in it. And I mean, if I wanted to, I mean, I could sleep in there. No one would even know I was there. But in one part, you would see a 2 or 3 foot section that's hollowed out like a little tunnel that goes right into another bush that gets hollowed out.
Cool.
So yeah, it's.
Well, no wonder people think they disappear, because they can, if they've got little networks like that throughout the woods.
Oh yeah, and I've got one in my area I call Fletch. His favorite tactic is to belly crawl. He loves to belly crawl because I think he knows most people are looking up.
Yeah.
And I have several pictures of him on his belly in a bush looking at me. And he loves so whenever I'm in his area, I look down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They do get down on all fours. So Jim may have seen one not too long ago, right out in front of our house here on all fours. He thought it was a huge cat the way it was running, but it was too big to be a cat.
Yeah.
And we don't have mountain lions running around here, so.
We do, but you can tell a mountain lion from, I mean, a Bigfoot just by the color. You know, so.
Well, that's one thing. He said this one was kind of grayish, which my daughter saw one on all fours that was gray. They thought it was gray too, so running across the field.
My father-in-law has property up in northern Idaho, and that's actually where I had my first sighting. And out of the corner of my eye, I'd see just this black streak low to the ground, but kind of long, go from tree to tree. And that's what they're doing, is they're on all fours. And let me tell you, they get down on all fours, they are fast.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Super, super fast. It's just a black streak going through the woods. And all of a sudden, it goes to a tree, and you expect to see it come out the other side of the tree, and it doesn't. It just, I mean, they can just stop and then stand up.
Right. So, Jim and I saw one when we went to the lake that's near our house. We were hearing footfall all around us, and they were whooping a little bit and stuff, and it's like they were following us. And down where we could hear them, we were both looking, and we saw something black just duck behind a tree. And, after we saw it, I said, we didn't know that each other saw it. But I was like, did you see that? He's like, yeah. And it was the same tree and everything. So that was pretty cool. But I don't think it was on all fours, but I think it was upright.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
You've had obviously, now that the gifting is at your house now. And you put a lot of stuff out on your railing. You put that magnetic bowl and stuff like that. For a while, they had a fascination with putting stuff in your barbecue.
Yeah. Yes. They sure did. Yeah.
You walk out, you go, where'd the magnetic bowl go? And then you open the barbecue, and there it is. You're like,
yeah.
What the heck?
They would turn it upside down. They put stuff in it. I kind of miss the grill being outside because of that. Now we have it in our garage. Now we got a different one, but yeah, I kind of miss that.
In the garage for the winter time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of rearrange your deck furniture too sometimes.
Oh yeah. They've done that on the front and back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They were doing the chairs on the front porch. Actually, they did that on the back porch too, but they were moving pots around. Like, I think I just have to let them decorate for me sometimes.
You know, it's Bigfoot feng shui.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like, no, you got it all wrong, lady. It's got to be like this.
Yeah.
Leave it like this, we're fine.
And I've moved things like, well, you know, like I've taken like a lantern or something to the back porch or a table or something. And they brought it back to the front where it goes.
Doesn't belong there. No, it belongs here. This is where it belongs, right?
Yeah. It's like they don't like change much. I think they're a little little averse to change.
Yeah, you know,
it takes some time to get used to changes.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you've probably heard of Christopher Noel.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've heard of his autism theory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you know Bigfoot and you do because you've seen what they do, I mean,
right?
It makes perfect sense.
It does.
You know, it makes perfect sense. I'm not saying that they are autistic.
No.
I'm just saying it's just that way of thinking.
Right.
It's Bigfoot OCD. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know, it's so funny and stuff to watch your videos and stuff because you never know what you walk out in the morning, or, you know, you'll put stuff out in the evening, you'll document it, you'll walk out in the morning, and all of a sudden you're like, well, this was over here, and now it's over here. This is put in the magnetic bowl, and the bowl's been put in the barbecue. My chairs have been rearranged. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's hard to keep track of all that. So that's why I take a million pictures so that I can remember where everything was.
Right.
Yeah.
And a while back, you came up with a bunch of different size Bigfoot figures, and you put those out there.
Yeah.
I have this kind of hit me in the heart when I saw this video. Was when the one was flipped over on its face.
Yeah, Mama.
Yeah. What do you? Is your interpretation of that?
Well, they moved it. They turned it over, and then, you know, I think they knocked it off the railing.
They knocked it off the railing after they.
And then I put it on the table, and then they moved it or something, and then I had like a wooden little sign laying on the table. And one day I went out there and they took the mama, or I think I put the doll on the sign to keep it up out of the water. But they brought oak leaf and laid it under her. And then a couple days later, I don't remember how many days, but they brought a rock. It was it's almost rectangular, and it kind of was flat on the bottom. And they put it by her head. So, you know, I'm not sure what that all means, but I know it's significant, very significant. They were telling me something, and I got the feeling it was that she had died, so, or was gone.
Yeah, so. She fell ill, and that's kind of what I felt in my heart, and it was very sad to see that, but at the same time, it also shows that they care, and
yes,
they have emotions. They are not animals. You know what I mean? They are not running on instincts like animals do. You know, there's a lot more to them than what people think.
I feel that they are their own unique species. Unlike any other creature on the earth. I feel that I don't believe in evolution. I believe in creation. So I believe that they're, you know, we're created by God, but they're very unique. And similar to humans, the most similar of any other creature. So that's kind of how I look at it. And they do. That's one thing I started learning right away, is that they have a lot more emotion and a sense of things like fairness, and they're sweet, respect. Yes.
Yeah.
But, I couldn't believe it, but there it was.
Yeah. Definitely.
And their intelligence, the intelligence is way beyond what I would have expected.
Absolutely. I mean, they can.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think so.
Look.
Absolutely. Way smarter than anybody had ever anticipated. The thought, the thinking process, and everything is just, it's mind blowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tell you, you have sometimes those moments where things become surreal, and like I don't know what to call it. One of the moments where like you realize what's going on. Well, I had one of those, and it was whenever it was back when I was doing the gifting on the log, and I put a cat toy back there and had a pink tail with a bell on the end of it. And when I went and checked, the tail was gone with the bell. So I don't remember the time period. It wasn't real long, but I went out back, and on one of the benches that we have under the tree, I found it was a piece of wood, like a stick, that was split at the top. And that bell, the ribbon was stuck in the slit. It was almost like a rattle toy. The stick was maybe 10 inches long. And I thought, oh my God, they made that for, is it what the purpose is, I don't know, but they made that either for one of them or for me, I don't know, but it was when it's just like I started realizing what I was dealing with. It's, everything felt surreal, and I was like, oh my God. Right. And they brought a rock and laid beside it too, which I don't know what the significance of that is, but that was my moment, because they had been coming, like they had brought that shell to the railing. But up until that point where I found that thing they made, the rattle, it didn't click what I was dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's, they'll give you what they think you can handle. You know what I mean? And I think
I've heard that. Yeah.
The seashell was that shark-sized seashell that they put on your railing. That was you subconsciously letting them know that you know about them, and that opened the door. Which is why they put it back on your deck, Yeah.
Well, I know that it's like we were talking about when we first started talking about Jim and him having stuff happen for all the years before I married him. So who knows what they were doing, but he didn't realize it. Well, when I made that move with the shells to interact, then it was just like when they know that that they're there, then it's game on.
It's game on, that's right.
Yep. And they're excited. It's like they're excited to interact with you.
Absolutely. So here's something that I would love to dispel to everybody is, you hear all these stories. Oh, this thing came out of the bushes and scared me and growled at me and blah, blah, blah. And it looked really mean, like it wanted to rip my head off. And I'm just I'm listening to the story going, okay, you scared it.
Yeah.
How do you react when you get scared? You scream. You throw your hands up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do when we get scared. We run the other way. And
yeah.
with your interactions, do you feel that they are aggressive in any way, shape, or form and want to hurt you?
No, I don't.
There you go, people. Same.
I
same
do. I
here.
have a healthy fear. I have a healthy fear of them. You know, they are mostly unknown to, you know, we don't understand
They're
them
not
fully.
supposed to exist.
yeah.
Right?
And,
yeah.
but no, I don't think they would hurt me. And I think if somebody tried to hurt me, they might not take that too kindly and maybe even protect me.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. And I know what you're talking about when people describe, you know, oh, Bigfoot almost got me. It almost killed me. And then they say it could have had me at any point, but it didn't. You know, what they're doing is looking at it from their point of view of being scared. So they interpret it all, oh my God, it was going to kill me and stuff. And it was probably just curious or it was scared.
Right.
You know, I know that there are aggressive encounters. It has happened, but I think they're rare. And they are probably provoked in some manner for that to happen.
What happens is when people walk into certain areas of the woods, they don't know, they come upon a family with little ones, and what is the mama or the big alpha male going to do? They're going to come out and they're going to throw rocks, growl, scare you to get you away from them.
Right. Yeah. It's just you can't blame them.
No, you know? I don't blame them at all.
No. I mean, I would too. Do what you got to do to protect the family.
Right.
Exactly. Or you might even run across a rogue one, you know, one that's problematic with family and kicks them out the clan, the tribe, whatever you want to call their family unit, you know, and then they go on to finding their own areas. And then here it is, you in a set of woods where this rogue's at. So if he was problematic for the family, he's going to be problematic for humans, you know?
Right.
And they're just like people. You got good ones and you got
bad ones. Exactly. I know.
Exactly. That's right. They have their own personalities individually, and it seems like clans also kind of have their own little style or personality.
Just like families do. Your family was raised different than my family, and Kirsty's family is raised different than my family, or your family, you know. We're all raised different. We're all raised with different views and
different experiences, which influences your outlook on things. That's just how they are. So, yep.
Yes.
We got a few questions. Hold on. Kimberly Schaefer says, "Are they still bringing things from Mr. Jim's place of employment for gifts?"
Can you say that one more time?
Sure. It says, "Are they still bringing things from Jim's place of employment for gifts?"
Oh, no, we haven't tried that in a while, so we'll have to do that. They put up a bunch of security cameras there.
Oh, that'll keep them away.
But right behind the security camera, he found a big X, and there's paths that go up, and the X wasn't there, like, you know, the day before or whatever. So I think they're still around there, but they might not come in on the property as much.
So there was no X there. They put up security cameras, and now there's a big X there.
I believe that the cameras had been up for a while, but it's right behind the pole. And there's also, that's where there's a bunch of deer go through, and it's right at the edge of that property that, you know, the apartments that he works for, the land that they own. It's pretty much right at the border of that. So
So
it is interesting.
maybe that big X is warning the other ones. There's cameras there. Don't go any farther than this, otherwise they'll see you.
Yeah, that could be. Boy, we went in there and explored that property. There's an old train track that goes through it. There was so much sign in there.
Yeah, and it's rumored that they love train tracks and they love power line cuts.
Yeah.
For traveling,
Yeah, I believe that.
All right,
Okay, go ahead.
I have another question for you. Sasha says, so many gifts. How many do you have to date? I know you've been cataloging them over the years.
Yeah, I haven't counted, but I have them separated into years. I think I got 2015 and 16 for the first. That's the first box, and then I got 2017, 18, 19. I'm working on 20, so, and they're full. So I don't know how many.
At least you get stuff you can keep. I get intestines from some unknown animal wrapped around branches. You know what I mean? So
I get some I can't keep too. I don't keep the mice.
No. You've gotten mice as gifts.
Yeah, lots of mice. Yeah. What else did they gave me like hedge apples and some walnuts and things, and I've tried to keep them, but they would just start molding, and so I couldn't keep them forever. And that apple that I put on the log, and they took it and ate half of it, put in that knot hole of the tree. I kept that for a long time, but then our freezer, like the power went out or something, and it started getting soft, and I had to throw it out. But yeah, so I can't keep everything.
They give you just like odd stuff. I think you had gotten like a graduation keychain or something that said like 2002 or something on it.
Yeah, actually.
Where do you think they're getting the stuff from?
Oh, I think that they just are. What do they call that? They take opportunities that arise. I think they go up to people's houses. I mean, there's a lot of houses around. They obviously go into at least the edge of town, because like where Jim works, that's at the edge of town. Jim's parents, they returned that wrench from there that we put. So we know they go there, and that's their backyards. There's just all kinds of houses there, and kids' toys left out, or they go through garbage cans, or, there's lakes where people go fishing, or
stuff gets left behind.
Yeah. Or maybe they go into people's garages and houses if they leave them open. I don't know.
That's cool.
I think they just get them everywhere. Possibly people's cars. That's the tassel and that graduation pendant made me wonder if somebody
something hanging it from the mirror.
Right, yeah. So I know they've been in Jim's truck, so
Here's another. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's another question. Bama says, Angie, have you ever caught one looking in the window?
No. And that surprises me. I at first thought for sure I'd see one looking in the window at some point, and I'll lay awake at night sometimes looking out the windows trying to see if I could see a shadow or something. But I did see a dark figure run by a window one time, but I've never seen one standing there. Ooh. I would like that to happen. I would like that to be my first encounter, so it's kind of that little bit of a separation.
Right.
For the first real, like the close-up look at it, just for that safety, because I don't know. I'm a little chicken, I guess. Sometimes.
Max Powers here, he has a question.
Okay.
Does she ever talk to her granddaughter about who she's talking to in the bushes?
No, I haven't. She just turned 4, and She did. She hadn't been here for a while, and I was talking to her on a video chat, and I was showing her the cats, and I took her out to show her the cows because she loves the cows. And I was coming back, and she says, "Can I see the monkeys?" And I'm like, "Monkeys?" And she said, "Yeah, can I see the monkeys?" And I'm like
they're your pets.
Yeah, I said, "What monkeys? Where are the monkeys?" And she said, "They're in a cage. Don't let them out." And I don't know, like the pampas grass, does that look like a cage to her?
Right.
So I want whatever comes. I don't want to taint her view. I just want her to tell me what she sees, or and as she gets older, I could probably have more of a conversation with her about it. But I don't want to put things in her head.
Right.
I know some
people.
Yeah. Some people were saying I coached her when she was talking to the pampas grass that second time, but she started doing that.
On her own.
Yeah, you can plainly see that she does it before I ever say anything.
Right.
So,
she ran right down to it, got down on her knees and looked in there and said, "Hey, anybody home? I want to play. Come on, let's do this,
Yeah.
So Kimberly Schaefer's on here. She says, ask her about the handprints.
Oh, yeah.
Was that on Jim's truck?
Well, I tell you, I have found so many handprints. The best two that I found, the one was a juvenile. It was on the inside of my garage door window, the one that goes to the back porch. It's about 5 inches long, very detailed.
You said on the inside.
Inside of the door. They had been in the garage, and
I'm assuming the garage door was up?
No, it was the door. We have the big garage door you can drive the car through. And then there's the door that goes from the garage to the back porch. It's just a regular door.
Just a regular door with a window on it. Okay.
Yes. That had a beautiful handprint. And I think that they were in the garage and maybe we scared them, and they left quick, and they put their hand on the door window and turned the knob because it was a left hand with the right hand and left. But it just was, the details amazing that was in it. It has these, at the ends of the fingers are, it looks like it's some kind of an extension. People have wondered if it was dirt under a fingernail or, but it's obviously, it's long. It almost to me looks like some sort of padding. I don't know what it is, but it's really interesting. And you can see the swirl patterns, the dermal ridges, all that stuff. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then I found one on my car door inside the garage. It was a palm print, and it was also absolutely immaculate in the detail. And they had also taken their finger and made little swirlies on the little window behind the big window, on the car. And that was also really detailed. And I'd left the garage open all night that night accidentally. So they must have been in there exploring.
She left it open. Let's go play.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was... and then I found the handprints. Well, there was just recently one on the front porch table, and it looked more, it was larger than the other two anyways. And, I found one on Jim's truck windshield on the outside. And I don't know, that there's been a lot of footprints too.
A lot of people out there and stuff that find handprints and stuff like that, they say it's real greasy. And Max Powers is on here and says, were these handprints greasy?
Very, very,
very greasy.
Yes. Because, we always try to make our handprint beside it or something just to compare it. It doesn't hardly even make, you can kind of see it, but they leave really thick, greasy fingerprints.
You'd have to cook your hand in like cooking oil and do it or something, huh?
Yeah, like Crisco or something.
Right.
Yeah. There was that one the little juvenile on my flower pot too. That one was really, it was real good. It was about 5 inches. Looked like it had picked up the flower pot. Yeah, that was on my front porch. So,
Paula Holland, did you find the Vienna sausage can in the fridge anymore?
No, that was the only time. The only other thing
I must have missed this. You tell me the story. I must have missed this one.
Yeah, this is a good one. I was just out there getting something out of the fridge. We put a refrigerator in the garage.
Right.
And, all summer we've had the doors open and, to air it out and stuff.
Right.
And I noticed this open can of Vienna sausages. It was on the door on one of those little shelves clear over at the side, kind of hidden. Not was hidden, but it was way over at the side. And I thought, what the heck? Where did this come from? And they hold 8. The can holds 8, and there were 4 left in there. And so I called Jim first. I was like, did you leave those in there? And he said no. He likes them, but he hadn't bought any in a while. And he always buys the hot ones. This was just regular flavor. So then I called my son. He was the next one I thought of, asked him if he left in there. Nope, he didn't. And then I asked about all the grandkids. If they had, only the oldest one would have been able to have anything to do with that. We asked him and he said no. So I even asked my stepson. He didn't have anything to do with it. So nobody knows where they came from. They just showed up in the refrigerator. So then I got to thinking about there being 4 left and 4 gone, and how they do, like, whenever they've taken things before, like I'll put out 2 cookies or something, they'll take 1. Or I'll put out 4 chicken wings, which I don't really do that anymore, but when I first did it, they'll take 2. So they take like half and leave you half. That's their fairness that I was talking about, their sense of being fair.
Right.
So I thought, they must have put them in there. Well, then, I don't know, I think it was within the same month. I have a brick that I propped the back door open with, and it came up missing. And we looked and we looked and we looked, couldn't find it anywhere. I looked all around. I had to go get another brick to put there. Well, my son comes over, and he was in the garage doing some things, and he opened the freezer, and I was standing there, and he goes, why is there a brick in the freezer? I go, are you kidding me? I said, we've been looking for that thing.
I've been looking for that brick for a dang month.
And I was like, I said, I didn't put it there. I said, but I know who did. that was
they have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
They absolutely have a sense of humor. They knew that brick didn't belong in there, but they're going to put it in there because they think when you find it, it's going to be funny.
Yeah. That was
that's hilarious.
That was probably the funniest thing they ever did.
Wow. So as for the Vienna sausage, now here's just from what you've told me, here's just a theory. Do you think that someone in your area is also gifting them?
That's possible. I've wondered about that a lot.
And they're like, I like these, but I don't want to eat them all right now, but I don't want them to go bad. Let's go put them in our fridge.
That could be.
We'll come back for them, you know. So that would be
they
interesting
probably messed around in that fridge enough to know that it's cold and you keep food in it, obviously.
Right.
So that's possible. I think I even said in the video, that's what came to my head. Are they using my fridge now? Yeah. But the brick being in the freezer kind of confirmed to me that the Vienna sausages probably did come from them because they are getting in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So
that is hilarious. That is freaking hilarious.
And I do wonder if somebody else is gifting with them because some of the things they bring, as gifts. And sometimes, most of the time when they take something that I put out, they'll bring it back. But sometimes, every once in a while, they'll keep something.
It's almost like someone out there knows about them, is gifting them also. So they're taking their gifts, giving them to you, and giving your gifts to them.
That could be, and it makes me a little jealous. I gotta tell you.
You're cheating on me.
Yeah.
Traitors. But it's, in a way, it's cool because it shows that they're having interaction with other people, not just you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's
and
really
also,
cool.
I mean, I kind of think I've said before that, and I think like Rick Wells from Wood Booger Farm and stuff, it's like we think that they go like travel on a circuit, kind of, come around, and because like I won't have activity sometimes for a while, but it's usually 5 to 7 days is the longest that it goes on average, but sometimes it'll be like 2 weeks, like during the winter or something. But normally if they don't come around, I can look at around 5 to 7 days and they'll do something. So possibly that's part of the whole circuit thing,
Right. It makes perfect sense. If you're getting that kind of pattern, they're going around their little stops, you know what I mean? And
maybe there's somebody around, 10 miles that way, or they stop by their house.
Right.
Give them a gift and take one or whatever.
Bring it to you, and
Yeah.
At least your brick didn't end up in somebody else's fridge.
Yeah.
That would have been weird. You know what I mean? Who put the brick in the fridge? What brick? We ain't got no bricks around here.
Here's a good idea that you could gift them. They seem to. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to try it. Some colored string, because there's reports of them yarn string. There's reports of them braiding horses' hair.
Yeah.
Maybe they braid their own hair.
I have put some string out. Trying to think. I don't think they did much with it. But speaking of hair, I made that stick figure, and then they made a stick figure beside it with their little rock for a head. And then, like a day or two later, we husked corn, and the silk was over at the edge of the yard. Well, they took some of that and put it on, I think it was the doll that I made, right on like the body part. So we were wondering what that meant. Was it clothes? Was it, did it mean it was hair? Who knows? But it was really interesting.
Oh, wow.
No, I have to tell you, I mean, you had that little, you put that little, like, what is it, Chinese checker things with the golf tees out on your deck.
Yeah.
And that inspired me to take a piece of wood and just make a tic-tac-toe kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I used some wooden marshmallow sticks and just cut it up into little sections. And I colored one blue, obviously, and then one red because I'm red. And put holes on the side of it and put all the pieces in it. Well, you inspired me with that to do that. And I actually just put that out there.
Oh, nice.
Yesterday. So I'm really anxious to see. I sat there and I showed it to him. And I said, "You are the blue." And I am the red because I'm red.
Uh-huh.
But, I didn't tell them it was a game or anything like that, and there's no winners or losers. I just want them to take a piece out and put it in a hole on the top.
Uh-huh.
That's all I
Wow.
want. So I'm all, okay, so I'm red. I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to put it right here. So when you want, you come and put your piece in. So we'll see what happens, you know what I mean? But that inspiration came from you. So
well, awesome. Let me know if something happens.
I document everything out there. So I document everything. So
good. I wish
they
more
love
people
gummy
would.
bears and Cheerios.
Do they?
So, yeah, gummy bears, Cheerios, red apples, not green. They don't like the green apples. And bananas.
Yeah. When I used to put apples out a lot, and I noticed that I don't know if they think they're not ripe or what, but they would take the red ones and not green.
Right.
So I agree with you on that.
And it's kind of weird too, because I'm still trying to figure this one out. We have no green apples in the house. When I go up to my area, I get in my truck, I go to the grocery store, I get what I need, and I go straight up there. The apples or bananas, they never even come on the property here.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, I found a half-eaten green apple underneath our bench next to our fire pit. And it looks like it had been sitting out in the woods for 4 weeks.
Really?
I had no idea where it came from. No idea where it came from.
How far are you from where you gift and stuff?
I'm a 35-minute drive. So
do you have woods around you? And
oh no, I'm in Los Angeles. It's a concrete jungle. I mean, it's all pavement and concrete. So
that's weird.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's them. I'm just saying they never took the green apples. You know what I mean? Up there, I'm assuming the rats took them, but the red ones they take all day long. They'll take the red ones and stuff. But I have no green apples in the house. I have no green apples around here. I don't know where it would have come from. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, that's a mystery.
Oh, it was just along the lines of the whole green apple thing. So.
Right.
I don't know.
Mine just took an apple. I think that was in my last video. I don't put them out much, but sometimes I will still. And I was so excited because they took it, and because I put them out and they'll go rotten, and I got to throw them over in the weeds. But they took this one, and it happened when nobody was here but me. I was like, yes, now I can tell everybody.
Right.
I was by myself, and it disappeared.
Yeah.
So
I find I'll take out their normal apples, their bananas, and I'll usually take a couple of things that I have to put in Ziploc bags. And I'll put that gummy bears and Cheerios and graham crackers and stuff like that. And I have this bucket screwed up on a tree, and I'll put everything in that bucket. And I'll come back. The bucket is empty. There's no signs of apples. There's no signs of bananas. There's empty bags all over the place. They're not opened through the Ziploc. They're literally like they pinched the middle of it and just tore it open. And
why not?
Dozens of bags that opened the same way. And I mean, you live out there, you know what rodent damage looks like.
Yeah.
Little nips and stuff. They'll open up the bag a little bit, enough to get in there, eat the contents, and leave. No, these are just ripped open and eaten right there, dumped on the ground.
Yeah. That's, well.
We usually run for about an hour, and we are 5 minutes past our hour.
That's okay. We can go if she's got a little time. Somebody else asked a question. Mom,
yeah, I can go a little bit longer.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Mom Silk said, Angie, do you think they go into the house?
I have thought several times that they have, yeah. So I don't know if you want me to go into those times or.
I remember one time you had put something out and then you found it tucked between the carpet and the baseboard. Am I correct?
You might be thinking about a marble that I keep in our extra room on a shelf.
That may have been it.
A blue frosted marble with like stripes on it. And it was in the back of Jim's truck between the tailgate and like the very back. It was like wedged in there. And I think they had an opportunity to be in the house. I don't remember all the circumstances, but there was reason for me to think that maybe they had taken it out of the house and then put it in the back of Jim's truck to return it. I don't know why, maybe because it's blue. They put it in the back of his truck. I don't know.
Blue marble, blue truck. Mm-hmm. That's where it belongs.
Mm-hmm. But that was one occasion. The first time I was laying in bed and I heard somebody walking around in the house. It was, during the night. I woke up and it woke me up. And I thought it was Jim. And then I realized he's laying right beside me. And there wasn't anybody else that it could have been. So, yeah. And then I think I got up the next day and the back door, I had left it unlocked accidentally. And I can't remember all the circumstances, but I think the door from the garage to the porch may have been open too. So it made me wonder, were they in the house if that was them? Because it was like a person walking around.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. Do you think they may be periodically checking your doorknobs?
I've heard them turning the doorknobs.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. One night, this is one of them times I put food out. I had made an apple pie and I didn't want the rest, so I put it out. And it was gone. And then the next night, there was something banging on the house and turn the doorknob. It was the one that goes into the garage from the front of the house. And it went on for hours and it was loud. And it was creeping me out. And I got Jim up and he thought the same thing, and we were wondering what the heck was going on, But yeah, I've heard them turn.
Well, you only gave them half the pie. They wanted the other half.
Yes, like, give me more pie. So I opened the pie up.
Give me more.
Yeah. So, and like I found handprints and stuff all around our door and the window frames on the front porch. Yeah, and I found like they took like something lifted the screen that's in our bedroom. It's right at the end of our bed. And on the outside part of the sill where there's like dirt and stuff, it took a finger and made like 3 arches all together and then put the screen back but didn't get it down quite all the way on the one side. So yeah, they at least get close to the entrances and door windows and all that. So
right. One of these days, Angie, you're going to come around the corner of your house into a hallway or something that leads out to the back door or something, and you're going to see one standing there with his hand on the doorknob going, oh, crap, they're home. Run!
Yeah, I'll tell you, a couple times. The first time I think I saw one was I walked out we have like a little hallway that goes to the garage from the house. So you go out that door, there's a landing, and you turn left, and there's another door that goes to the porch. And there's also a window right there that you can see out. And I came out, and I think, I can't remember what was going on, but I think maybe we caught them doing something. But I just saw this black blur just go, like something ran so super fast. All I could see was a blur. I could see it out that window. And another time I went out, and I think I surprised him doing something. I opened the door, and I heard running, and something ran into the weeds right at the edge of our yard, right by the porch. And it was big, whatever it was. And then the next day I went out there, and there was I think it was like an 8-inch footprint right there where at the edge of the yard where it stepped when it ran in there. So
yeah, you're getting those Joker juveniles.
Yeah, so we've almost, we've surprised him a few times. So I suppose one of these times we'll catch him red-handed.
Yeah. I hope you got your camera going when that happens. That's for
Me
sure.
Me too. Yeah.
But it's so cool to hear these stories and stuff, because it just, like we said, they're not mean. You scare them. That's why they react the way they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Christy said, you get that rogue one or something that got kicked out, and like we do. You get an unruly teenager, doesn't want to listen and doesn't want to do this. Well, then go do your own thing somewhere else and get out of the house. You know what I mean? Because I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Same thing with them.
Yeah. I was going to tell you about a couple times that I felt. One time I felt maybe not welcome in the woods. It was like one time. And then another time, Jim and I felt like something big was going on outside. The vibe was eerie. It was really weird. And we heard some stuff, thumping. We didn't know what it was, something running or beating its chest. And it was the mood was real heavy that night. And we took a drive to see if we could hear where this thumping was coming from. And we saw something running in a field that's like over the hill from our house that didn't look like any other animal we'd seen. And then when we came back and was sitting out on the porch for a little while, it lifted and it got better. So I don't know if something was going on. There was a rogue in the area, and there was two of them,
it could very well be they were trying to handle the situation, So
yeah, and maybe they were giving us the vibe.
Yes,
right.
Because we were like, I don't think we should be out here, really.
Right.
So,
right. They're like, you don't need to be out here right now. We need to take care of this.
Yes. Yeah. But I didn't feel threatened by our Bigfoots. I just felt like something was wrong.
You didn't belong there at that moment in time.
Yeah. And the other time, did you want to say something, Christy?
Yeah, I was going to tell you, they probably had something out there that they didn't want you out there that could probably harm you.
Yeah.
Saying, come on, let me put these vibes out to you and say, get out of here. We don't want y'all to get hurt. Bye.
That's how it felt. Yeah.
Yes.
That's how it felt.
Yes.
Yep.
That goes to show they protect the ones that they interact with. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I've had when I've walked in the woods several times with my little group that I used to go with. There was one time that when we were, doing yells and whoops and stuff, and I felt this bad, dreaded feeling, and I'm like, nah. And then we heard a growl. It went.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, it's time to go. We need to go now. Let's go now.
That's how I found my group. Fletch growled at me. I came around a bush, and I was literally 3 feet from him, and
Wow.
Everyone walks on the main trail. No one walks in next to the bush line.
Mm-hmm.
And then here comes me. Do, 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 do. Oh, hey, look at this tree. Turned around the corner. And I literally jumped like 8 feet to my left and went, you gotta be kidding me. Are you freaking serious? And in that video, you could see him. He went from where he was in the bush to where he growled at me because I scared him.
Uh-huh.
That's why he growled. And you could see him probably 50 feet back standing up watching me over the bushes. And I did a growl impression of what I heard. And when I did that growl impression, he ducked.
Ooh.
And it slowly came back up. Little did I know that big feller was about 10 feet to my left and the tree is watching me the whole time.
Oh, boy.
So I had two in the same video. But that is what found my group, and that's why I keep going to this area. You know what I mean? So
wow. Did you get to see its face and stuff? Were you that close?
Well, at the time I was filming like this.
Okay, yeah.
So now I have a tripod, so I just
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just without it. I didn't see it until I had seen Fletch. I found Fletch in that video, and I saw him stand up watching me. I did my growl impression, he ducked, and I'm going, oh, wow. And then my buddy Brandon, who goes by Bronzini Bigfoot, he sent me a screenshot of a picture, and I'm all, dude, that's a rad picture. Where'd that come from? And he's all, your video. And I'm going, what? Your video. And I realized Fletch was to my right, big fella was to my left, and that's how I found him. It was all by accident.
Well, that's cool.
There's actually 4 of them. I have Fletch. I call him Handsome Feller because his facial features just the epitome of what I thought a Bigfoot would look like. Mm-hmm. But then I have Mercy, which is the female, and she's also red like me. She follows me around everywhere. Wherever I go out there, I could guarantee you she's no more than 50 yards away. And then there's the one I call Mama. And I've only seen her once, but she stays off in her own little area. She really don't want nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. So I go play with 3 of them every Saturday. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Fun times, huh?
It is. And it's crazy because this place is so heavily populated with people riding their bikes and walking their dogs and just out walking. You know, I mean, I sit there and I watch these people go back and forth all day long, and I'm going, they have no idea. They have absolutely no idea that there are literally 3 Bigfoot sitting here watching them every day.
Yeah, it's amazing.
and I make it a big point not to let people see me go into these areas or come out of these areas. So I'll wait till I don't hear no one, and I'll make a beeline out to the main trail. I've gotten caught. I had one guy look at me like, where are you coming from? You know, as I come out of the bushes. But most of the time I don't get caught, but I've really gotten to understand the human psyche through all of this. And I've literally been 10 feet from that main trail in plain sight. All they had to do was turn their head and look, and they would have seen me. But since I didn't move, they didn't turn their head. If you don't move, they don't see you.
Right.
And it's probably something that they've figured out too. If you don't move, they won't see you. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's true with deer or anything. Sometimes you just don't see them unless they start moving.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. And I've noticed that human brain is trained to see movement, not trained to see what's in front of you that isn't moving.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's also made me realize that people are just absolutely oblivious to their surroundings.
Yeah.
At any given time. So, I mean, I could stand there literally 10 feet off the trail, just stand still, and no one will see me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Just,
like whenever you start finding Bigfoot sign in the woods, like their breaks and their structures and their glyphs. But if you're not looking for that and you're just somebody that's oblivious and don't think anything about it, you won't even notice that stuff.
you walk right by it. You walk right by it. And that's what it was for me when I found my group, is I had noticed a tree where all the top branches were broken down. I mean, like, all the top branches were broken down, but not completely, so that they just kind of hung down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually going to video that tree when I walked around the bush. And wait a minute, I've heard that growl before. You've got to be kidding me. I didn't run. I moved away from the bush, and little did I know I was moving closer to the one on my left. He didn't say nothing. He didn't do nothing. He just stood there. He stayed still, and I mean, now we're all friends.
Yeah.
They give me animal intestines, and I give them apples and bananas. So,
well, that's nice.
Hey, I'm like, hey, I thank you for the gift, but you can keep it. I don't think my wife would appreciate me taking this home to her. I went back the next week. It was gone, and it was literally wrapped around 3 times on a branch, brought down to another branch, wrapped around another 3 times, and brought back up in a V shape, directly in a trail that I take to get back to that area.
Wow.
They wanted me to see it. Well, thank you, but I'll pass. I don't do this. You don't need to give me anything. I'm just here to give you stuff. And I'm like, I'll pass on that.
No, you should have taken it. Is this a question from Paula?
Yeah, I figured out how to do that. Amazing.
Have I ever given them a Mountain Dew? Nope, no pop. We call it pop up here in Ohio instead of soda.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a Bigfoot all hopped up on caffeine?
Oh, God.
You know what? Oh,
whenever the Vienna sausage thing, I had, before I found those, had noticed some of my little mini beers maybe it's like I had them just to drink when I would go outside and work in the yard or something. And I didn't think I drank that many, and it was like it went down a lot. And I was like, what in the world happened to those beer? So now I'm wondering if they were getting 1 or 2. People are like, yeah, beer and Vienna sausages. It goes good together.
They're helping themselves. They're helping themselves to your fridge. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
You try putting like 3 apples on the shelf in there and see what happens.
Yeah, that's an idea. Yeah.
But I mean, I've taken mine. I mean, we went through a real bad heat wave. I mean, it was literally, I'm out there, and it was probably 107, 108 degrees. And I felt bad, and so I took them bottles of water, and they didn't want nothing to do with it. They sat there, so I just collected them all up, and they got there's actually a reservoir probably 1.5 miles away from where this area is. So I'm assuming if they want water, they just go there.
Yeah, they have to have their source somewhere. So they take pretty good care of themselves.
Yeah, they've survived this long without our help.
You get that mommy daddy feeling towards them. I want to take care of them, but they do pretty good.
Yeah. They've taken care of themselves without no problems for this long. I think they'll be all right.
Like one time I tried to give him a blanket because I thought,
it was cold.
Yeah. Well, I folded it up, put it on the swing, and the next morning they'd taken it and put it in my chair. Like, no, we don't really want to, but it's yours, here, take it back.
We don't need it. We have all this hair. You need it more because you're hairless.
They were very kind about it. They just moved it over to my chair. It's like, thank you, but
Right.
no thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very courteous,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Christy knows about Fletch and Big Fella and Mercy and stuff like that. And the most intimidating looking one is Fletch. I mean, he looks like he would just, he's not fat. He's just really cut, really in shape. And he seems like the last one that I would think would want to interact with me. But he seems to be the first one that's going for it because he used to just lay down in the bushes and just watch me. And now, last 2 weekends, I can hear him back in his area walking around. Crunch, 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 crunch.
But he's not the alpha. He's just a male in the group.
Yeah. I think he's just a male in the group. I think Big Feller's the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
He's massive. He is freaking massive.
Got another question here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Mom is dead or just an upset teen mad at her? I think she's gone somehow. That's my feeling. Because I gave him the opportunity. I left her out there for quite a long time after all that stuff happened where they were bringing the rock, and just to give them the opportunity to return her to the clan that's on the railing. They never did. So I just took her inside. So
yeah, I remember that. That hurt my heart to see that you walked out and that one was face down.
Yeah.
You turned it right back up, and then the next time you went out there, it was on the ground. Like, no, she's gone.
Right. Yeah.
It was like they were really trying to stress to you that she's gone.
Yeah, so. I really felt like they were telling me, communicating something important. And then when they brought that leaf and the rock, it was almost like some kind of a memorial.
Right, almost like telling you that we buried her.
Yeah, something.
Right.
Yeah. Another question?
Yep.
Have you seen all of them? No. I've seen, like I was saying before, we've had lots of glimpses of them. I've never had a full-on sighting that I'd like to have, but I've seen lots of footprints, all different sizes. We've had 17 and 16-inch ones in our yard, and I think up to 18 and a half, and as small as I found 4 and 5-inch little prints. So, and the one that I originally seemed to come to the porch when it first started happening, like the gifting at the porch, I kept finding a 9-inch print in the grass all the time, and a 13 and a half inch one. So that's the two that seem to be coming around a lot at that point. But yeah, I found all different sizes of footprints. So I think there's probably, at that time I was guessing 6 or 7. Now I think maybe it could be up to 10. But it's just a guess. I don't know.
That's a big family unit, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe one of these days when they all get comfortable, you'll be sitting on that porch and you'll be looking out at the bushes and you'll just see the big one come out, and then the next smaller one come out, and then the next smaller one come out, all the way down the line until you get the little baby.
That would be great. That's my goal. I want to have that personal, interaction, that face to face. If that, if it would ever get to that point, but
yeah,
sure is tough because it's just like it's inbred in them to stay hidden and stay away and be secretive.
If they're as ancient as people theorize they are, I mean, imagine the stuff that they've seen humans do to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about the Indians You're talking about the Civil War. You're talking about World War I, World War II. I mean, it's nothing but violent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I were them and I saw humans doing that, it'd be like, I'm out. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back over here in these hills and hide.
I would hide too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you blame them? I mean,
yeah.
You know, it's sad. You know, I mean, and I've heard stories that Indians lived side by side with them peacefully, and they used to trade back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, until white men came in and started killing the Indians.
Yep.
And they're sitting out on these wood lines watching all this happen, going, "We're out.
Yeah.
We're done." So
Just like we were talking about before, whatever their experiences with humans really affects their, like, how they will interact with. So, like you said, if they are aggressive, they've probably been provoked or had a bad experience with a human or something.
Shot at them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
because they seem to mostly just be curious and just kind of hang back and watch if you leave them alone.
Right.
Are there caves in your area, and if so, do they use them? There's not very many caves. We've kind of looked, haven't found any. Yeah, I don't know where they go in the winter. They can't go far because if it's like when they do seem to go and hunker down to ride out a storm or something, and the weather changes, they're back pretty quick doing stuff, so they can't go real far away. It's not like they hibernate or, migrate real far away or anything.
Right.
They build shelters that are, men can't see their shelter sometimes, and they probably, with their intelligence, put pine straw and stuff in there to keep them warm. Even though they got hair on their body, they still probably get cold like we do, and like anything does, One
thing that I've wondered about around here is there's a lot of coal mining that has happened underground, and there could be entrances to those that maybe they can get in those. So there aren't caves, but there are those mine shafts or whatever you want to call them. So
yeah, it's like most people think that they either live in the trees, they live on the ground, they live underground. We don't know.
They probably take advantage of whatever's available in that area.
Yes.
So, perhaps we have a lot of like abandoned houses, old houses. Maybe they go inside of one of those.
Yeah.
So
I've heard stories of old abandoned houses or cabins and stuff out in the woods, and someone will come across it and go exploring this cabin, and they go into one room and it's full of pine straw and leaves and bushes.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone's bringing stuff in and making a bed, and it just happens to be the only good part of the cabin roof.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Everywhere else, it's all caved in and stuff like that, except for that one room. Like you said, I think they're opportunists. You know what I mean? They work with what they got.
That's their intelligent way of thinking of how man creates the area for them. The evolution, how they have to work with how man destroys everything. So they have to make it accountable for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Sasquatch adapts to its environment, where humans adapt the environment to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and to be quite honest with you, I think Bigfoot's right. We're wrong.
Yes.
So, that's
I agree. I agree.
Well, when you look at the shape the world's in, it makes you wonder, something's gone wrong.
Disgusting.
Something's gone very wrong. Very wrong.
disgusting.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. When the poop hits the fan around my area, I know where I'm going. I'm going up there with my fellas.
That's what I've said to Jim. I said, maybe we should just go down and live with the Bigfoots because
right?
they're more civilized than some of the people that we know.
Exactly. And, I'm going to go up there with a backpack and tent and stuff like that and be like, you know what? I know we have our areas and I know we have our borders, but I'm coming in. I'm coming in now. So, whatever. I'm just going to set up my tent over here and we're cool, but don't let nobody in here.
It
look
starts,
like me.
Yeah, with the hair on the face and in the high heel shoes.
Tiara.
Yeah, your tiara. But what I'm saying is, it's like a chain reaction. It has to start off with the people. We have to make this place a better place for us to live, for our future grandkids, kids. It has to start with a small network and then branch out to make it better. But it's where you start at. It's figuring out the puzzle.
A big part of it starts right in your family and teaching your children what's good and what's bad for real. It's like the world has things backwards. What's good is bad, what's bad is good. And so it's no wonder everything's so confused and messed up,
Well, we could get into that stuff, but we'll stay.
We'll just talk Bigfoot.
Talk Bigfoot, exactly.
Stay out of that conversation because I could. I could scream. Really choice words.
Scream like the Sasquatch do.
Okay, Bigfoot.
Ask me something. Let's get back to it.
So Jim, he gets up, he goes to work, right, early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
He ever seen anything out of the corner of his eye or anything? He ever been coming back in the house?
He hears stuff all the time. Whoops and whistles and stuff coming from the woods, and that when he saw what he thought was a huge cat, it was really early in the morning. He'd taken the garbage out the garage door. It's right there by the garage. And he saw something go from the porch over to that propane tank area where Annabelle was looking. And he said it moved so fast and it moved like a cat. But I've heard people several times explain how they moved, and they said it was kind of like a cat. Like on Sasquatch Chronicles, you'll hear people talk about it.
Right.
And so I found that interesting because he said it was as big as his, I don't know if he had a German Shepherd dog. It was a big dog. He said it was bigger than that. So that wasn't a kitty cat.
That wasn't no cat.
That wasn't no cat.
No. Okay, so what do we got here? I'm sure it's probably hard on them out there. It's hard. If the forest is gone, they're going to have to move. And hopefully none of them lost their lives or anything.
Yeah.
It's one crappy thing about living here in California is, you normally get your normal seasons, summer, winter, fall, spring, autumn, whatever. Yeah, well, we have an extra one. It's called fire season.
And I'm glad we don't have that around here.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, our fire season is because of some idiot throwing a lit cigarette out of a window. Mm-hmm. Or actually, I think last year, there was actually a fireman that was bored. So he was going around setting fires. So
that's nice.
Yeah. Right? You know what I mean? Most of it's arson. It's sad.
Jeez.
It's absolutely sad.
Yeah, it is.
Some of it is turned out to be like accident by homeless people. You know what I mean? But it's luckily we had a small fire, very small fire in my area, probably a couple miles away. It was quickly put out, and
That's good.
But on the other side of the valley, they got that bobcat fire, and I think that's working on 200,000 acres right now.
Oh boy.
Lots of lives, lots of houses gone, evacuations, and they're pretty sure that one was arson.
Probably.
So,
unbelievable. Got another question, Christy?
Yes, you do. It says, Snow, have any neighbors had any problems with them?
I haven't talked to my neighbors. We don't really have real close neighbors, but I've thought about it. But I was just thinking about this the other day. I was taking a walk up to the end of our township. It's a township road that we live on. But anyways, the closest neighbors kind of over at the end of that. And I want to be able to relax and not worry that people are messing with me, for one thing. Yeah. If I start telling everybody around where I live, then you got to start wondering, are they messing with me during the night? You know?
Right.
So I kind of like to talk to people, but I think I'm not comfortable with it right now. So
I think that might be a good thing, just to let it be the way it is. Because, like you said, if you start bringing up the topic, someone's going to overhear and be like, "Oh, I know where she lives. Let's go mess with her." She'll quit doing it, and then
they'll fool with you or fool with the Squatches. One of the two,
Yeah.
Or maybe because they end up screwing with you, the Squatches are going to get mad and maybe well, they'll need diapers. They'll need diapers. I mean, they'll be walking down your driveway or something, leaving from screwing with you. And all of a sudden, big alpha male steps out, just looks down and gives them a quick. Oh, man. They're either gonna go boom, hit the ground, or they're gonna need to go change their shorts afterwards. So, I mean, like when I go out in my area, I have no Bigfoot stickers on my truck. I have nothing related Bigfoot on. I deliberately don't wear anything Bigfoot related because I don't want the people to be like, "Hey, you out here looking for Bigfoot or something? I saw your shirt." Yeah, I saw you coming out of the bushes wearing a Bigfoot shirt.
I'm looking for the biggest red oak tree there is out in the woods.
But there is actually something very interesting. Someone is building a house further back in the valley, and it's under construction. And there was never any houses there until recently. Now, this one particular house has a 17-foot tall chain link fence with this green tarping all the way around it. But I thought the height of the fence was very weird. And the green tarping also was very weird. But every 20 feet is a 25-foot pole with 3 video cameras on it.
Oh, yeah. How nice.
And they're not facing into the construction site. They're all facing out in the woods. And I've always wanted to go over there and be like, what's up with all the cameras? Because, like you said, Angie, they don't like change. And if that is a place where they used to hang out and watch people because it's at an intersection, it's at a T, and all of a sudden you get bulldozers in there building a human house, they could be going into that construction site and screwing with stuff and So
Yeah, you're right.
and it's kind of funny because you got that house with all the cameras on it. You have the trail, and then there's a hillside with a big oak tree where all the leaves just kind of hang down. But there's a little hill up in it, you know. I was walking by it one day with my friend Brandon, and he saw, hey, look at that up in there. You start looking, and there's 3 spots. Now, the whole hillside's covered in leaves. I mean, we're talking thick with leaves, except for these 3 spots that are completely bare. And they're all, you know, looks like something had been sitting there.
Yeah.
And I sat in one of the spots with my knees up, and he's all, you know what that looks like? And I shoved my feet down and pushed all the leaves down. He's all, that's it. They're freaking sitting here watching that construction
Mhm.
site.
Yeah.
And there's 3
Rick Wells, wood booger farm, he has those spots on his hillside where they sit and watch him.
right? And they probably leave the same kind of marks
Yeah.
that I found. You know, they sit there and stuff, and then they shove their feet down, which moves all the leaves down into a pile.
Mm-hmm.
And they just sit there. They just watch. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
he calls his human lookout post.
yeah. And it's weird too because wherever I seem to find signs is where the trail's either T, so you got a trail coming through this way and one going that way, and they're watching because they could see more. It's almost very militaristic in their posts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
You know what I've noticed here, and I think we made a video about it a couple of years ago. Like I call it lookout spots around our yard because at spots where we would think that they would sit and watch, they'll break a limb over or they'll do something to mark it. And everywhere that there was a place that we thought they had marked it somehow with a tree break or, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I just found the other day out behind that shed that's always in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
There is a limb on a locust tree twisted backwards and broken backwards and bent down. So, and I suspect they go it's right at a fence and there's some locust trees. And I suspect that they go in there and watch. So.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very strategic in where they sit. That is for sure. It's one thing I've realized.
Yeah.
They're very strategic, and they'll do a very subtle, very small little marker. A human walking by would never even pick up on it, but another big would be like, "Oh yeah, this is where so and so sits." You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're very intelligent, very intelligent.
I'll tell you, the glyphs that I find in my front yard, I find them a lot in my front yard, but I found them all around. They are so fascinating. Sometimes they're very intricate and, detailed. And Christy, yeah, if we only knew what they meant for sure. But yeah, I've cataloged so many that.
Yeah, I like how you're doing it too and stuff. That you got your Bigfoot video diary and stuff, where you show the phone, you show the date, you show the time, and it cover. Yeah, one video will cover several days throughout the month. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's.
I like to do it that way because you can see how things affect other things. It's like all one story. Like if you put little mini videos out all the time, then people lose track of what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the date and the time and stuff in the video, it gives you a better chronological order. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Here's a thing for thought too. I showed it. I think it was in the last video that we did last weekend. This ran by me a while back. I was in glyphs where I go. Like a sideways H with two lines through it. With the stick and two lines going through it. Well, I happened to be sitting in my truck smoking a cigarette at lunchtime at work, and I looked up. And I looked at the chemtrails, from the planes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? I saw the same glyph. I'm going, huh?
Yeah.
I pulled out my phone and I'm looking at the glyph and I'm looking at the thing. I said, wait, let me take a picture and do it side by side. I'm going, this is amazing because they make X's.
Mm-hmm.
They make the lines with the two lines in it. So
yeah.
I'm wondering if it's juvenile that are learning like sponges, taking the sticks, and they see that in the sky and they go, ooh, sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what I can build.
Right. I never thought of that. They probably do look up and see all those lines and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was amazing because I found like 3 of them.
And they've been known to mimic things.
Oh, definitely.
So that could just be another one of their mimicry. And
it seems like it's almost like, to me, sometimes it's like their language or some written thing. But it also seems like maybe sometimes they're just making something pretty.
Right.
So, or something interesting.
And until we get to sit down and talk with one.
Yeah, you'll never know what they mean.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's like Kevin with Glag,
Oh yeah.
He's like one of the lucky ones,
Yeah, if only we could get that kind of a relationship.
I think that was a timing thing because I know Kevin was going through some stuff in his life at that time, and that Bigfoot was probably going through the same stuff, and they just kind of crossed paths and they felt each other's energy and been like, let's do this, So, but boy, I wish he was still around. Let me tell you.
Oh,
you see that the X?
I do.
Okay, with the line going through it. Watch this. I'm gonna show you the.
Christy, with you talking about the chemtrails and stuff in the sky.
Yeah.
Okay, now we always see your typical X standing up against trees, right? That kind of, it's like a human building a barricade. In the war, they would put those X's up all over the place.
Like that one?
So, I'm wondering if the ones on the ground are from up there because they would look flat. You know what I mean?
Like the sky.
Right.
Like the sky. Right. And then the ones that are standing upwards are like...
are the ones that say, don't come in here.
Don't come in here. This is my territory, whatever.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I tell you, I have found, like in each section of our property, like all around, several different large X's in each section. I find that interesting. So,
are they standing up? They're standing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
I find them on the ground too, but there's been the big upright ones all around the different sections.
If you have them in different sections and you think that you have many of them, I'm wondering if you may have several smaller families.
I don't know.
And each one of those X's may signify a family's area. You know what I mean?
Here's something you need to do. When you do go out there and you see the X's, take a picture of the X's and compare them to see if they're the same stance in the way it's built. Because I know when we went to Mississippi to our spot twice, I found the same X. and we was far over from where we was before. So it was a low X, 2 branches, because most of them do it like that, but this one was in between 2 trees, and you could tell it was the same one because I compared them, and I said, yeah, that's the same squatch that's doing that. So evidently we was going once in a blue moon, and they know us, but we haven't been out there in a while, so I don't know what's happening.
It, like a coat of arms.
Yes.
In Europe, everything in that coat of arms means something. It signifies a different family. So maybe it is the way that they construct the X. It signifies this is this family, or this is this clan. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
like I
kind of, well, me and Jim theorized that our clan, maybe their symbol for their clan was a Y, because I would find Y sticks all around the property, and they were similar, like how they were shaped, like the size and everything, and then they gifted me a couple Y sticks in my chair and on the railing, and so that kind of confirmed to me that it did have some, it's a symbol to them. Possibly they were accepting me into their clan. That would be awesome.
That could very well be. It could signify, okay, we accept you into this clan. You know what I mean? And it's the Y clan. You know what I mean? Or it could very well be. I mean, maybe go for a walk around the property and figure out where you find the most Ys, and hey, I'm home. What's for dinner?
Something I find really interesting is sticks stuck in the ground, and I have found so many of those, like big ones. They couldn't. There's just no way that it happened naturally.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
Sideways, right? Pushed in.
Yeah, I've had them angled in. I've had them straight up and down. There's been little ones. There's some that's been like 8 feet tall, and just that is a point of direction for them on which way to go.
Could be. It could be a trail marker, direction marker.
I did find a couple pointing. This was at the lake by our house. There was a hillside that had a bunch of sign and stuff on it, and there was sticks stuck in the ground pointing towards a couple deer stands that were up there. So, and I've heard people say that they will mark all around a deer stand.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's because deer stand usually involve guns. So yeah, they're letting the other ones know, hey, there's a deer stand over there. No, don't go there. So from whatever direction around that deer stand, there's going to be something that tells them.
And I found that too. I found there was a deer stand when there was arches and all kinds of stuff all around it. And I found that several times.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, they're smart, you know what I mean? They live out there, and they're going to know that area the best.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be a hunter that's hunted that area for 40 years. You ain't going to know it as well as they do. I'll guarantee you that. I mean, they could point out, oh, that stick fell this morning because that wasn't there yesterday. You know what I mean? Or, these leaves just fell. I mean, they live there. That's their home. That's their home.
Right.
They live there, and they're going to notice it. So, well, we are going on 2 hours. 2 hours now. So,
I'm getting a little tired.
Getting a little
10 o'clock
hungry.
here.
Yeah, I'm getting a little hungry too.
So,
Jim brought me a cup of tea. That was nice of him.
Oh, that was sweet.
Yeah. So, well, we got one last question here.
Yeah, I do it.
Can you hear them on your roof? You ever hear anything on your roof?
We hear them throwing stuff on the roof. I've never heard them walking up there or anything. We have a metal roof, so I don't know if that would affect. I hear it popping and stuff, but I think that's the change in the weather. Maybe.
Right, you're right. The hot and the cold, the settling.
Yeah. You just think if something weighed 800 to 1,200 pounds walking on your roof, I think it would be in your house.
Right. No matter what it was made of. Yeah. No matter what it was made of. You know what I mean? So,
unless he tied vines to himself to the tree.
Right.
You know what though? I think there might have been a juvenile up on the garage roof one time because I don't know if you remember it, but I walked out the garage door to the porch and I heard this. It sounded like wind chimes, but not metal. It sounded like plastic clinking together.
Really?
And I looked all around and there was nothing. Couldn't find anything. And I didn't look up behind me up on the roof, but I don't know, a week or two later, I went around the front of the garage, and behind the trash can, there was these little chunks of plastic laying there, and I picked it up, and that made that exact sound. So I think there was one up there doing that, and then it probably got down on the other side, because I was on the other side of the garage. And I don't know if it dropped him there or just, you know what, but I think there was one on the roof that time.
Yeah, I think the juveniles may do it just because they know to hold their weight.
Right.
But I think as they get older, you know, they learn, don't go on those, man, you'll fall in. I weigh 200 pounds. I've been on some roofs where it's like, yeah, I'm getting off because I'm going to go through it. You know what I mean? So, I can't imagine something, you know, even 600 to 800 pounds being on a roof and having it hold up. But
yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on and telling us your incredible experiences with them that continue to this day.
You're welcome, and it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, we'd love to have you back on in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna keep in contact with you.
We barely even scratched the surface with the stuff that's happened to you and Jim and around your property. So
that's true. There's so much, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I'm glad I started that journal. I started a written journal. That's how I started keeping track, and I'm glad I did because boy, I would have forgotten some of these stuff.
It fills up very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, everybody, if you're not familiar with Snow White Bigfoot, go check her out for sure. Subscribe because she's one of the honest, true people out there that is having these experiences, and they're not mean. They're not aggressive. They're wonderful experiences. And go check out her channel. She's got what is your video diary up to now? What are you up to, like 107?
I believe my last one was 91.
91, so you're almost at 100.
Yeah. I can't believe it's that many.
Is that a cat hollering in the background?
Yes. Our black cat Bitsy, she goes and gets her toy. And she carries it around in her mouth and she makes this weird meowing sound. It's usually about 10 o'clock at night.
Someone playing with me.
I'm sorry.
It's really weird.
I kept hearing them going, am I hearing things?
The first time I heard her do that, I was like, what in the world is going on here? It's so funny, though, because she carries that around in her mouth like a baby or something. Aww. It's really
weird. She was hollering, too. I was like, wait, I know my cat's upstairs, but I know she's not hollering that close to the door. Oh, my sides hurt me. I'm sorry.
Well, guys, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Absolutely wonderful.
It was. All right, y'all hold on. I'm going to end the show. Thanks for everybody for coming and tuning in.
Yeah,
go
thanks
check out
everybody.
Snow White